And now we are live everywhere. That's it. That's how we do it. That's how we roll. That is how we roll. Happy Saturday to you, wherever you are in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful world. I tell you what, we had some pretty rough storms coming in, and thankfully, it's okay. But it was rough there for a little bit. You know, it was not very good, not very good at all. So yeah, that's moved over. That drives me crazy. All right, so yeah, happy Saturday to wherever you guys are. Hopefully you're having a good day, and you're having. Yeah, that little thing right there is kind of fell over, and that's just driving me. I'm very OCD. You have to understand, very, very OCD, and when things like that, it'll bother me until for the whole show, the whole presentation. It's terrible. I've got to fix it because it'll drive me crazy. Excuse me. See? No, I feel much better. Yeah, it just drives me crazy. See, that's the way it should be. That's, it should be against the wall, the way it should be. No, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It drives me crazy when, because that'll bother me all night. Like, so I'll see that on the screen. It'll be tilted, and it will no, that's not supposed to be tilted. It's supposed to be right up there. I do that primarily because I don't want, I don't believe in being, if I'm going to go on air, number one, you have your stuff together. You don't look sloppy. You be professional, because people are giving you their time. And I know this is Saturday night, and I get it, but still, I don't care if it's Saturday night or not. They're giving you their time. And if they're giving you their time, you're prepared. You are, as they call it, they call it TV ready. So if you're not TV ready, then that don't go online. But that's me. That's just the way I present myself, because I'm very OCD. But not everybody is. And that's okay. That is okay. So yeah, we had some pretty rough weather. So thankfully it is gone, and I'm very happy about that. So, okay. So everybody, I'm Bishop James Long. I appreciate everybody being here on this fine Saturday. Let me give you guys a heads up on what we normally do. So in a moment, we'll bring Judy Ann in just a second, and we'll talk. Just share some stories. Miss Wilma is sick again, and I don't feel sorry for her. I don't. I'm getting kind of tired of it, and she's probably watching this, and that's too bad. I don't care. I'm getting sick of it. She always goes to Walmart. She kissy, sucks face with all her boys. In the yard. She brings her milkshake to the yard. And I'm just kind of, is that how it goes? But nonetheless, she's always flirting with those men at Walmart. And then she does her Tarzan yell, because that's her yell for her boyfriends to show up at Walmart. And here comes, they're just scooting on. They're just scooting down the aisle. And then she kissy, suck face. And then she gets sick every single time she goes to Walmart. I find it very strange that Miss Wilma is constantly getting sick every time she goes to Walmart. I picked Wilma. If you're watching this, and you probably are, I picked up on this. I have now discovered what's really going on. So we know the truth, guys. We know the truth. But no, she is sickly today, and so hopefully she'll be there tomorrow for Bible study. But yeah, she does every time. She goes to Walmart. She should have never told me. That's the one thing she should have never told me. She told me that these two twins, they show up at Walmart. They're older, and they have really long white beards. And this is what they do. No joke. So they go to Walmart, and they're in their little scooter, the Walmart scooters that make this horrible beeping sound when they go backwards, like you think you're going to be ran over by a Mack truck. But nonetheless, they're always in the frozen aisle at Walmart, because they pick up women. And so Wilma was there on her little scooter, and I guess they liked the way her scooter beeped. I don't know, backing up, who knows, and her doing her Tarzan yell probably in the middle of the store. And one of the older brothers went to her and said, "Hey, you like to come over our house? We'll go buy you another TV dinner. That's what we'll do, by God. We'll buy you a TV dinner." And Miss Wilma, of course, let me tell you what Wilma said. Wilma said, no, because you didn't buy me a hungry man. That's right. Didn't buy me a hungry man. So, unfortunately, Miss Wilma's not here today. But we know that she kissy suck face with all those men. Hello, but Judy Ann is here. And Judy Ann, what do you think of it? Isn't that crazy?
She's really got to slow down. Is she not aware of some of the diseases like the lung infections and bronchitis and all that she can get by sucking face with all these men?
What are you talking about? She's the one giving them all the diseases.
Oh, I get it. Oh.
I agree, audience. I agree, studio.
With me.
I agree, studio audience. See, the studio audience even booed Miss Woman. She's not even here. They're booing her. I agree.
Not even here. Well, that just goes to show you how popular she is.
Yeah, sorry about that one. Boy, I tell you what, they're working overtime. The studio audience is working overtime. No, but we kid. So anyway, hopefully she feels better and she's be here tomorrow, and she'll be rocking and rolling with Bible study at 8 p.m. So guys, here's the deal. For those of you who don't know, for the next 20, 30 minutes or whatever, we're going to have a good conversation. Judy Ann, we're going to chat. And then afterwards, I'm going to present a few articles that I saw that I really want to pass on to you guys that are really interesting. And then after that, around between 9 and 9:15-ish or so, we go on TikTok and TikTok only. And then what we do is we bring the moderators up on screen, and we also bring you guys up with us. So that's what we do. And, come on over and visit. And if you have any questions regarding demonology, the paranormal, or if you have questions about the moderators, they're all very experienced in their own field. And Trolls, let me just say this. Of course, I always have to say, Trolls, you will not get my attention. So I'm just going to let you guys know, adults acting like pestilent little children, I will ignore you. You are be completely ignored. The only attention you're going to get will be the moderators who will block you. You're not going to get my attention. So I'm just letting you know now, you're wasting your time. Okay. Anyway.
There you go.
So that's how we roll. So how have you been there and over there? And moderators, let me know. I would rather keep the chat open, and you guys understand why. So if you guys can handle, I'm sure you guys can handle it. Just block them. If they come in and act stupid, block them, and go from there. Okay. Oh, I'm rude, Rebecca. I'm rude. Oh, to someone who is ill.
Oh,
Oh, here we go again, Rebecca.
That's the only thing about me being on the show is I can't use my mute button as quickly because I love showing these rude people to the exit ramp.
Exactly. It's interesting. If people actually came here and showed up and they knew what we were talking about, then they would know that.
That's right.
See, instead of coming and being a troll, maybe you should come in and just learn what we do here. And then when you learn what we do here, then you can understand what this is all about. And so anyway,
I have a question. Do you think these people would show up at a party, like a Christmas party or an office party, and start insulting everybody? Would they do that? We're kind of a fun group here.
Right. It's just one of those things. Okay. Hey, Rebecca, let me introduce you to something. If you just go away. We're not, you're being rude and disrespectful. Just stop. Just, if you don't, this is what we do. We have a good time. We tell jokes, and that's what we do here for a while. And if Miss Wilma was here, believe me, she'd be throwing it right at me. You're new. I don't even know who, so, just seriously, people they always have to troll no matter what. Damn.
You can use the word with 2 L's at the end. It's not troll. It's chill. It's chill.
Let me just, hey, Rebecca, this is called the back door. Bye-bye. Now you're blocked. So that's what they do. They go over to these other. That's why I would prefer, so it just always, people just don't know when to shut up. It's like, stop being so rude. You know what I mean?
The rest of them are so nice. All of these people saying hello. I see every one of you.
Yeah.
So nice to see you. And I thought maybe tonight I would ask you folks. I have some questions for Bishop Long.
Okay, while you're doing
kinda
that, let
deal
me
with
find this person so I can delete her on all.
Okay, you go ahead.
Because I got to
Well,
do this way.
You go ahead. You go after that person. My question is for everybody: Would you, rather than doing the jokes, may I ask Bishop Long some really kind of interesting questions about the paranormal and get his answers on that? So, rather than telling jokes, if you could let me know.
Yeah, hang tight, because see, this is why I don't like
Mhm.
closing it out, because
Okay,
then they
getting
slam
a lot
me.
of yes.
Right. So then I have to stop everything and go to other platforms and deal with this.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, this takes a little bit of
Oh
time.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, this is overwhelmingly.
This is what I
Yes.
do.
So
This is what I do.
good. I know, and it's not right. I don't understand.
Can't even start a show.
But I will tell, well, when you get done, Bishop, then I wanted to ask you about the storms, number one.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let me go ahead and block one more thing. And
Okay, Lena.
now we're good to go. Now we're good to go. Now we're good.
Lena is telling me that anything would be better than the corny jokes. I know that was a low blow. Well, I will tell everyone that we're blossoming up here. It's really beautiful. It's spring. I'm going to start my garden indoors. I start them in egg cartons. I can't afford eggs, but I can afford the cartons. Isn't that great? Can anybody relate?
Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Actually, I knew Lorraine. I knew Lorraine Warren. I was friends with Lorraine. I did not know Ed, but I did know. Ed. I didn't know Lorraine. So guys, here's the deal. Hang tight with your questions. I promise you we'll get to them. But first, we're just going to chill. Guys, we're just chilling. We're just chilling. That's what we're doing. And then we'll get to all of your questions a little later. How's that? And we'll even bring you guys up on screen for it with us a little later too. So stay with us on TikTok, because we'll bring you up on a little bit later. But so did you hear about the Virginia Zoo response? And this is honest to God. Now, this would be terrifying. A Virginia Zoo responds to a gorilla escape rumors. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
Honestly, that would be, thank you there, Gatlinburg. That would be scary. If I was in this area, that would be pretty terrifying. This is by Ben Hooper. Listen to this, everybody. So a Virginia Zoo responded to rumors of an escaped gorilla in Norfolk by confirming that not only were all of its animals accounted for, but the zoo doesn't even have gorillas. Anyway, guess what happened? Can you imagine? Social media lit up with people posting all kinds of reports online, pretending that they were a news source. They reported of a gorilla on the loose following a power outage Tuesday night in Granbury Street area, with several Facebook users claiming to have seen the gorilla actually on the streets. Anyway, the Virginia Zoo had to put rumors to the rest, joking that the sightings were likely the facility's mascot, Zoo Squatch. Anyway, they said, we heard talk of an escaped gorilla, but we think it may have just been Zoo Squatch spotting on his daily run. But don't worry, he's made it back to the zoo, our keepers. We want you to know all of our animals are safe and accounted for. So they were just trying to make it funny. But here's the problem. Social media sometimes goes way too far with the stupid videos that they're posting. And now people are posting and going online and saying, oh my goodness, if you're in this area, you need to be aware. Virginia Zoo has, a silverback gorilla has escaped when there was a power outage. That's no joke. People may think that's funny. That's stupid. Because number one, a silverback gorilla, in all fairness, it's not an animal to trifle with. And if you have animals outside, if you have dogs outside or something of this nature, or if you just have to go outside to, your car, people spread that type of nonsense. I don't think it's funny. I don't think people may think, oh, Bishop Long, don't be so uptight. This has nothing to do with uptight. That causes a lot of anxiety and frustrations and stress. People who have dogs outside now, what do they have to bring the dogs in? I mean, something like that is completely and totally irresponsible, and I don't like it. So of course,
it's inexcusable.
It is, but they've done it as well. And by the way, they also, social media did this, posted everywhere on Facebook and all other social media, TikTok, that Pope Francis was in the hospital and screaming that the demons were coming after him, going to drag him to hell. And people were, folks, it is total crap. It's not a true story. It's a make-believe story. It never happened. Never happened. And so people constantly are asking me about, well, have you heard about the Pope Francis and saying the demons? And it's all total bull. And it starts with people creating these, quite honestly, there was this Ron Burgundy looking guy, it was a satire site, number one. And then, so people then take these clippings and say, it's on news, and he has a green screen behind him. It looks professional. It's all junk. It's all junk. So I don't know. That kind of stuff, get your source from credible, news from credible sources.
That is such an egregious sin to make a claim like that about the Pope. I would think they would really be in trouble with God for doing such a terrible thing.
Yeah, and Cell 46 says, I've seen about the Pope Francis seeing the demon and opening a portal. And Judy Ann is one of the moderators too, and she actually serves as one of the. She is, by the way, the executive producer. When I go out and do these, like the Gates of Hell Cemetery, or I'm going to be doing another documentary on Eastern Cemetery, and hopefully be able to do Cave Hill Cemetery, which is beautiful in Louisville. Judy Ann is the executive secretary here, and the producer. So she helps me get to these locations. And there's going to be, by the way, there's going to be several locations. I am planning to head to California and on assignment from Judy Ann, and she'll serve as the executive producer. And I will be going to quite a few locations in California. It'll be later on. And I'm really looking forward to that.
I have to ask him for forgiveness because I am sending him on assignment for about 2 weeks. So I'm not sure how he's going to be able to cover a lot of the shows. I know he's going to be doing a lot of lives and some quick videos, but this is very important and I need his help with something. And that's why I'm sending him to California for 2 weeks. So please forgive me, folks.
Yeah. And I have a laptop that I think that I can run all the shows on and still do that. We'll have to see. The TikTok won't be a problem. It's everybody else on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that other stuff. We'll have to see. So, but I'm really looking forward to that a lot. So there's going to be a lot of locations that I'm going to be checking out in California, and it's going to be very, very cool.
I'd like to thank you publicly for accepting that assignment because you are helping me. So cool. I do appreciate that very much. So.
Yeah. So everybody, absolutely. So yeah, just please, when you get your news source, make sure.
Nancy says, just leave your doll at home.
Just leave my doll. You know what?
Yes.
I am going to be doing another presentation on haunted objects. I am planning to bring several items that I've never shown before here. I don't like it. I don't like to do that only because of what that doll did to a laptop. So I'm going to keep it far away from my electronics. And it's in its case. I'm not taking it. I'm talking about the doll that was on Eli Roth, the Legion of Exorcists show. And I will not ever take it out of its case again, ever. I've learned my lesson, and that won't ever happen ever again. So for those of you who don't know, it was on the Legion of Exorcists show. And I was at I've told this story many, many times before, but there's a lot of new people here. And so I had this doll in a case, and it was at Louisville Mid-South Paranormal Conference in, of course, Louisville, Kentucky. And people kept telling me to take it out of its case. And normally I don't. Hello there, Dr. Campbell. But I did. I took it out of its case. I showed it to everybody. No one wanted to touch it. The whole room changed. The whole environment of the room changed. They told me to put it back. As I was putting it back, someone asked me a question. I got distracted, put it next to my laptop, turned around to answer the question, and a firefighter screamed at me that my laptop was on fire. And it was on fire. Turned around, and so, I mean, of course, there's a brand new laptop that I've been saving forever to get. And I can't take it to Best Buy. I couldn't take it and say, hey, look, you know, it caught fire because there was a demonic attached doll that was next to this thing. They don't approve that, you know, and they're, unfortunately, even I had a receipt that still won't say, sure, no problem. Yeah, we'll replace it. But anyway.
Let me ask you a question about that doll. Now, I remember you talking about one night in the hotel room when you brought these items for education, that something was happening. The doll was causing problems in the room. Actually,
at the Legion of Exorcists show. So I took the doll to California when we were filming the show. And so I had to take it back home with me. So I had it in the hotel room. I didn't even like it in there. It felt heavy and oppressive. And the door in the bathroom, of course, I always shut the door. That's my habit. I always shut the door. And the door in the bathroom it was like it was locked. And that's like someone was inside the bathroom, and it kept hitting the door handle and just violently hitting it, trying to get inside of my room. And of course, I kept getting up over and over. And of course, I knew there was no one there anyway. But it happened all night long. And so that was a rough night. But I will have the doll.
Wow.
I'm thinking about doing the show next week and then talking about some of these objects and the cases and what happened. So you guys can get an idea.
May I ask you a follow-up question? When you take the doll, when you travel with that doll, do you have to bless your car afterwards?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I bless the doll again.
Oh, my word.
But even then, there is just a uncomfortable feeling with this doll. But that's just there's actually all of these items that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, matter of fact, when I went to West Virginia, they asked me to bring some of my items, and I did. And so I brought these items, and I laid them on the table. They opened up like a massive section for me because I had so many of these items. And I laid them out on the table, and people could see the cases, what happened. It was a kind of rough rundown of each one. And one woman walked past one of the items, and her turned pale as a ghost. I mean, she almost was going to pass out. And so I had to take her and remove her from this item, and her color came back. But it's just that type of heaviness you can sense, even if they are already blessed, you can still sense that residual energy.
It's palpable then.
It is. As a matter of fact, that Caps Paranormal, I talked about that doll. They had a thermal camera, and he showed it, and the heat signature was dramatic. I mean, the difference, it was really dramatic. He showed it to me, and because it was in its case, and then he had the thermal cam, and then a digital thermometer. Boy, it was a pretty interesting catch that he did.
You talked about that. Rizzo has an excellent question about the doll's energy. How can the doll's energy get past the case? How does it contain the doll's energy?
The case is blessed. So I always make sure that the case is blessed and the doll is blessed. Anytime I take that with me, but you can still feel the residual energy. That never is really going to go away. That's going to always be present.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in the presence of this thing, you can feel it. I mean, it's just that overwhelming. It's that intense. There are very few objects that I have that are similar to. There's a couple that's actually even stronger than that. But people ask me all the time, why do I take them? Well, look, so I have a master's of education, and I used to teach kids and adults with learning disabilities. Now, we all learn differently. Some people can learn through lecture style. Some people are visual learners. Some people have to be hands-on, and that's okay. So when I do lectures, when I go to paranormal conference, I used to do a lot of them. I would bring these items and I would teach about them. And I would implement different teaching methodologies because not everyone learns by lecture style. So when they see it, then it brings it back. It is real. They can actually say, okay, there it is. There they are in the presence of it. The same thing for the Holy Spirit board. I could talk all day long about the Holy Spirit board, but when I show you, here it is a visual. It then becomes, that concept becomes real. It becomes tangible. And so this is why I take these items and I teach about them, because people are buying these items like crazy online and you don't know what you're getting. And that's very, very dangerous. And I encourage you, stay away from it. Stay away from these things. So because I am an educator and I love teaching, I also love showing the objects. So then the concept is now tangible. You can see it. You're using your senses. It is there. And it gives a different, I think it brings the case in a way to reality. So you can actually see a tangible object that came from that particular case.
You know, Bishop, I think there are a few of us who sense that doll's energy, that wicked energy, just seeing it in the background when you've had it on the show before.
You can.
Because I cannot look at that doll in the face.
You can. And I will, I think I might do that next week, next Friday at 7. I think I'll talk about haunted items. I'm going to bring a couple objects that I've never shown you guys before. That's really intense. And yeah, I just, I don't like them here at all. I don't want them here. I have a storage facility and I prefer to keep them there. So matter of fact, after the show is over, I'm going to have to, between that and night prayer, I'm going to have to run to my storage facility and put them, because I don't want them here. I don't want them here any longer than they need to be. So
is when you bless your house following that, do you have to do a more intense blessing? Do you do a lot more after you've had that bad energy in your home, in your studio?
No, I always do the epiphany of the doors. I do that quite often, and I bless the entire. I don't do the minor rite unless there is clear indication that there's something here. I bless my home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and especially when I bring these items in and I share these items with you guys, yeah, I make sure that I take real careful and caution in making sure that everything is properly blessed. I just don't like them. I just don't like them here. And really,
I appreciate you sharing all that with us, because we would never know. Most of us would never know these things even exist.
Yeah, I got the doll. The doll was actually, it's an interesting story. For those of you who have never seen it, it was featured on the show Eli Roth Presents Legion of Exorcists, and they actually recreated the scene. What had happened is a wife and her husband, they were at an antique store, and she did some things when she was younger that she shouldn't have done. Okay, we just leave it at that. She became obsessed with this doll. I mean, it was an unhealthy obsession. And so even her husband was trying to talk to her, and she just said she couldn't even hear him. It was almost like the doll, in her words, or it was basically telepathically convincing her to purchase it. She even told me, she said, I would have put a second mortgage on my home. Whatever I had to do, I was going to buy that doll. And the doll is not special. It was just became an obsession. She doesn't know the history of it. The owners didn't know the history of it, of this antique store. So she bought it and she brought it home. And this family lived in Tennessee, and it's like a McMansion. It was a beautiful 3-story home, beautiful. She brought it home, and it wasn't long after that they were experiencing some real serious violent activity. Electrical appliances, bulbs would pop, the smelling, sometimes they could smell like the house was on fire. They see shadows, bangings of the wall. I mean, there was just something wasn't right, but it never really dawned on them it was because of the doll. She put it in an ornate bookshelf, metal bookshelf, right in the former living room. And I got a call from the chief of the fire department there. It was a smaller town. And they said, you need to come out here. He knew who I was, and come out here. We need your help. Okay. So I went to, because it's not very far from me. I'm in Louisville. And I thought, all right, I live in Louisville, Kentucky. Why not? So I drove over there. And when I pulled in, it was a great big empty lot looking thing where clearly there was a big house and there was nothing there. Nothing. I mean, the only thing that I saw was a bookshelf. And on top of this bookshelf was the doll. And I'm thinking, well, that's odd. Why would that made no sense to me because they didn't tell me what happened. So I showed up and they explained what happened, and she walked me through where the house was, the parlor and all the, and she turned to the right, and there was this bookshelf, and there was this doll. The entire house burnt down to a crisp. There was nothing left in that house. The only thing that stood was that metal bookcase and that doll. Now that doll was porcelain, and you can still see the burnt marks on the clothing, and you can still smell the smoke. You can still smell it. And this happened quite a few years ago. And she said that's the only thing that I brought this thing, and I want it out of my house. Oh, of course, there was no house, but see, I want it gone. So I took it, and that's really how the story goes from me. It was very hot to the touch it was like, if you ever put your hand on a real hot pavement in the middle of the sun when it's like 95 degrees or 100 degrees outside, and you put your hand on the concrete, and it's hot, that type of hot. It was very, very hot to the touch. And it's one of those dolls, I just simply don't like it. So.
May I ask you a question? When you go to your storage unit to retrieve these things, is there a special precaution that you take?
Yeah. I always bless myself. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I always.
Have you ever? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Have you ever found things odd in the storage unit?
Yes.
Mm.
Yep, I have. And so it's just one of those things that I don't. This is why I take it, and I take these items, and I teach people stop collecting them. And because there's so many people, the problem is people are buying these things online. And I've talked about this the other day. You don't know what you're buying. So these people are telling you that these things are haunted. And so you purchase it. You have no idea what that person did prior to selling you this doll. How do you know that person may have done a curse on this thing? How do you know? There are so many things that this person could have done. And then you brought it home, and now all hell breaks loose in your house. It's just not worth it. Just stay away from them. Stay away.
Oh my goodness.
No, I don't have a webcam in the warehouse. No. I don't want to put that much energy or money, resources into putting a webcam in there, because I don't need to do that, because the stories speak for themselves. And I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm just here to tell you, this is what has happened. These are the items, and please don't collect them. Just don't collect them. On another hand, let's talk about something else. This is a very interesting thing, because we'll talk about the paranormal stuff in a second. Listen to this. This is by Ben Hooper as well. A brother picks up a $1 million lottery ticket for a California woman. So a California woman said she is going to buy her brother a new car after she gave him some money to buy her a lottery ticket, and he came back with a $1 million winner. Wow. So the winner, identified as Jay Garcia, told California lottery officials she gave her brother some cash to buy her a scratch-off ticket. She said, once in a while, I give my brother $20, and because I know he loves to buy tickets, I told him to buy me a ticket. So Garcia's brother told her from the Cardenas Market in Lincoln Avenue to tell her that he had secured a lottery scratch-off game. Garcia then told her to scratch off the ticket to save her a potential trip to the store if it was only a $5 prize. And he says, I think you won, Garcia recalled her brother saying over the phone. No, she replied. Anyway, he brought her the ticket, and she took the lottery office and confirmed it was indeed a $1 million winning ticket. She said, I went to the California lottery office, and they told me, yeah, you won. And that's when it hit me big time. Could you imagine? She's going to buy her brother a brand new car. Well, good. I mean, rightfully so. But can you, $1 million? Can you imagine
$1 million. We could build that chapel in Louisville.
That's pretty good. That is a pretty good amount of money. I tell you what, by God. Now, do you like alligators?
I love them.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, I photographed. I spent a lot of time in the Everglades photographing.
Now, you realize they do run pretty fast.
They can sprint, my dear.
And how close were you when you photographed these alligators?
Well, I was up on a deck, so I was only,
Okay.
I was safe, but I was 5 feet.
Okay, so but you were on a deck.
Yes, I was
Well,
safe.
listen to this. A Florida man left his patio door open for some fresh air, ended up coming face to face with an alligator in his kitchen. Paul Quinn said he was checking his email at his Fort Myers home on Sunday when he discovered an alligator had broken through the screen and entered through his open patio door. Needless to say, he called 911 and a Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission trapper was summoned to remove the approximately 8-foot long gator. So he recorded the video. A trapper used a pole to drag the reptile out of the house. See, no, 8 foot.
Oh, they're longer than that. Now, did you say that was in Fort Myers?
It just says in Florida.
In Florida. Okay, I was south of Fort
Yeah, Fort
Myers.
Fort
and
Myers. Yep, you're right. Fort Myers.
I had to be very careful at night because we had a pond on the property, and they would come out of the pond. So I had to be very careful because I'd go for my walks at night. You've got to be on guard. They'll pop out of the pond and grab you.
You know, that seriously, that would be kind of scary.
They're everywhere. You get used to them.
Now, you love bears, and I know that you have taken some amazing
Absolutely.
pictures of some bears. Amazing pictures.
Love bears, the grizzlies, yes.
Well, this is a very interesting story. Listen to this. Kind of shocking. I didn't even know they did this, but Ben Huber writes this as well. The first brown bear to undergo brain surgery wakes up from hibernation. So
Aw.
a zoo in England said the first brown bear to undergo brain surgery has awakened from hibernation and appears to be back to his old self. The Wildwood Trust said the bear, named Boki, underwent brain surgery for fluid on the brain in October, just before the animal went into hibernation for the winter. Well, man. So veterinarians said that at the time they wouldn't be sure whether the surgery had been effective until the spring. Well, the zoo said Boki has now woken up from his hibernation and seems to have made a full recovery. Says, quote, "What a remarkable transformation that we have seen this young bear," a zookeeper said in the video, posted to social media. He's active, playful. He's exactly the same bear that he started last year out as. So real achievement in terms of the operation success so far. So there you go. That's amazing.
Boki, huh?
Boki.
I love that.
Yep.
There's a paranormal conference, I think, on Kodiak Island, and it's a tent camping excursion. I was going to send you. Would you be up for that?
No, absolutely not. Under any circumstance. Okay, first of all, here's the biggest and main reason is the one word you said.
What's that?
Tent.
Tent.
Do you think?
Oh, come on.
No. So the audience, what do you think? What do you think? So the audience?
Who thinks Bishop Long should go on this paranormal conference journey?
There is no chance. There is no chance that I am going to go on a bear excursion in Kodiak Island, by the way. In Kodiak, one of the you want to see some big old bars. Those are massive bars. And there is no way I'm going to go there in a tent. No. That would be a no for me. Nope. Nope, not gonna make me drink.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you afraid of wolves?
In the wild, yeah. If I was camping, first of all, I don't camp in a tent. That ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna. No. I'm not camping in a tent. Not today.
I wouldn't either. Truthfully, I wouldn't either.
So if I was in the wild, and if I had a tent, and I heard wolves, no, I don't like that. Now, if it was safe, I would absolutely. I'm all about. I love wolves.
Okay.
No.
You wouldn't be afraid to go to a location in Montana, say, for a paranormal investigation, and nearby is a wolf sanctuary, I guess. You wouldn't be afraid to do that.
Well, what would I do within the wolf sanctuary?
observe, and you can reach through the fence on one of the females. She's very friendly, and give her scratches.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, as long as I'm not going inside the sanctuary and saying, "Hey, wolves, it's supper time." I mean, that probably is not something that I'd be interested in. So I would, as long as it's in a safe, they're very smart animals. Absolutely, absolutely. But
They're
also
just dogs a few generations removed from being domestic.
yeah, and
That's the way I look at them.
and I'm also Purina Chow. So no, I'm sorry. I would not. Would I go in the incursion? No. But I would absolutely love to. Yeah, I would pet a wolf, and yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I just see.
I love wolves.
This is why when people go a Bigfoot hunting, I just, that concerns me. Not that you are going to get and find a Bigfoot. What concerns me is that there's a lot of wildlife out there, and you could come across a big old bear, or you could come across a mountain lion or a wolf. So those are the things that can be quite frightening. Don't you agree?
We've talked about sharks too. I was curious. Do you know what the most dangerous animal is in the ocean?
I know
you're not a shark.
You're probably a jellyfish.
Seal.
Oh yeah, the leopard.
No,
seals are pretty aggressive.
Seal.
Yeah, they're pretty aggressive. They are aggressive. But see, bull sharks are stupid. Bull sharks will eat anything. It doesn't matter what it is. They are the garbage dump of the ocean. They will eat anything. As a matter of fact, a license plate was actually found inside the belly of a bull shark. So I'm not. Would I go in the ocean?
A license plate.
Seriously, they did.
Was he on traffic duty?
No. So the audience.
I can't win for losing.
No, they didn't like that.
Fair.
So no, they really did. They found. I don't know why I know I read that they had found a license plate in one of a bull shark's stomach. True story. So I don't swim with anything if I can't see it, and it's bigger than me and has bigger teeth than I do, and it's a dumb little thing that goes around and looking for. It just wants food. That's what it wants. It's not there to be all hugged or kissed or loved on. It's there to eat you. It's a predator. No, I will not do it. Under any circumstances, nope. People who go into the ocean, into deep waters and swim, oh, no. You guys are cray. You guys are cray. I would rather deal with someone possessed. Seriously.
Oh, wow.
Seriously.
Well, they found bull sharks in rivers, I think in the Mississippi, and I heard they saw one in the Great Lakes too. I don't know which lake.
And actually, it was a bull shark. It was a bull shark that inspired the movie Jaws. Because that's actually it's based on a true story. It was in New York, upstate New York, and a bull shark went into the creek area and did terrible things during the summertime. So that's actually what inspired the movie Jaws, the bull shark.
Isn't that something?
It is something. That is crazy. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to finish up a couple of these things here, and then I'll bring on about half an hour. How's that?
Okay. You didn't let me ask my question, though.
What's the
I had
question?
a really good paranormal question for you.
Oh, good paranormal question.
Yeah. And I promised everybody that I was going to do this. Well, when you are traveling to a demonic, whether it be an attachment or an infestation or an actual possession, you've told me that they know you're coming, which I find so scary. The demons know you're on your way.
Yeah.
But my question is, does your playbook change depending upon what you encounter? Do you change it up? Are there different levels of evil and a hierarchy where you say to yourself, okay, this is how I'm going to handle this character? Does that happen? Well,
there are hierarchies in demons. In Christianity, there's hierarchies of angels. So, and that's what a demonic entity is, a fallen angel. So you have the highest order, the middle order, and the lowest order. And it's the same thing with demons. You have rankings and order. Now, many times when you have a possession case, many times, the demon will 9 times out of 10 always say they're Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub. The whole point of that is to intimidate you, to frighten you. These are parlor tricks. And so most of the time when the right demands that you demand its name and the hour of departure, and that's it. And so you don't have a conversation with it. You silence the voice, because they're never going to tell you. They're never going to tell you its true identity in the beginning, because you have to. It's a process that you have to break down their will.
Mhm.
So anytime it says, now what happens many times, there's what's called transient possession. And transient possession is when an individual can in fact be possessed by multiple demons. And you will see the transit, like there's one case, I'm not going to give it his name, but I did an exorcism case in which he suffered with transient possession. And it was multiple demons, and there was always a personality change within the demon, or within that, so you can hear it. So it's at one time it's a very mocking, laughing. The next minute is very sinister. A next minute there's something else going on. And so for him, legions of demons can be a complicated process, because you're not dealing with one demonic, and that takes multiple exorcisms, and that's okay.
Well, so there's like a pack of them.
Oh, sure.
Do you just made me think of something. I'm sorry. One more question. Do you know when a particular demon, when you're dealing with this thing, can you predict what it's going to do next? Which direction it might go when it's toying with you? What do
you mean predict? I don't understand the question.
Well, when it goes in a different direction, is it like not surprising to you? You kind of could tell that that's what it was going to do next.
These are our parlor tricks.
What its next move was going to be. So nothing surprises you.
No, nothing, and nothing should. Nothing should surprise. I mean, whether it's a contortion of the body, or speaking an unknown language, levitation, even the eyes changing, going black or solid white, or markings appearing on the body. These are all parlor tricks to try to intimidate you. Temperature changes in the room. Screaming and throwing the voice to try to disorient you.
Well, I guess, has a demon ever done something where it really surprised you? Like, wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, well, yeah, the first time, my first exorcism.
Yeah, your first one.
Because,
goodness. Okay.
Well, I mean, but there were other things that, I don't discuss. So,
right.
But the first exorcism, when I was the assistant, I always knew that the eyes could go black, but I never, I don't know. It's a different experience when you're there. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you so much for answering those questions. I'll jump off of here. And again, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll be back when you call the moderators up.
Sounds good. I'll see you then.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
There you go. She's heading on out. We always got to make sure we do that. All right. Okay, turn that down. So yeah, that's our Judy Ann. Our Judy Ann, she'll be joining us here momentarily when we bring the moderators all up here. But yeah, it's a lot of people. There's so much when you're talking about demonology. Even in Mesopotamia, with demonology, you can see it in ancient Egypt, ancient Persia, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Judaism, of course, Christianity, Islam. So I think a lot of people just think that it's just Christianity when you're talking about demons, and that's just simply not true. Not at all, actually. In Mesopotamia, and ancient, of course, Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians had a complex worldview featuring a pantheon of gods, which, by the way, included evil spirits or demons. So the Utuku, that was considered a malevolent figure causing misfortune or illness or chaos. Galu, Lamashtu, and even early demonology emerged from the desire to understand the natural desires, disasters, diseases, even natural desires such as lust and greed and pride and envy. And even exorcism rituals and protective amulets were developed to ward off these malevolent spirits. And we see in ancient Egypt, in demonology, they had demons such as Apep, which is the serpent demon of chaos, represents disorder, and even amulets and spells within the Book of the Dead sought protection of these entities. which I have a copy of that, by the way. In ancient Persia, that's where we begin to see the Zoroastrianism. It's an ancient Persian religion, introduced to what's called dualism. For those of you who don't, you may not have wanted all this information, but so in Zoroastrianism or Astrianism, there was a creation of dualism, Ahura Mazda, which is the god of light, and Ahuraman, which is the god of evil. And so we see this dualistic battle here between good and evil. It's even in ancient Persia. Many people would actually argue that it kind of had a reshaping, or particularly shaping the Abraham religious concepts of demons. And even in Greeks, they had daemon, which is later Romanized as a demon, we know. So we see this in even ancient India, in Hinduism. There were demons such as Asuras or Rakshas. They're entities opposing the devas, which are gods. So we see this not in just Christianity. In Islam, demonology features jinn. It's the spirits that are created from smokeless or fire, who, like humans, they can be evil. They can also be good. So there is an evolution that we see of demonology, not just of Christianity. So, but that's a lot. I know that's a lot of information, but nonetheless. Okay. Once you know the name of the demon, then it releases its, when an exorcist is performing an exorcism, the intellect and will of the exorcist, the intellect and will of the demon, the demonic, they are at battle. Thank you. One will win, one will lose. When a demon surrenders its name, you know that its will is being eradicated. It's becoming at a weakened state. There are two things. There is no such thing as a conversation during an exorcism. It doesn't exist. It should never exist, because demons will lie to you. So you're not going to sit there and have a conversation with a demon. So you command, not ask. You command in the name of Jesus, what is its name and the hour of departure. That's it. Oh, thank you, little red. So that's it. Nothing else. I want nothing else from this demonic. I want its name and the hour of departure. And what happens oftentimes, especially many times in the first form of prayer, when you're first round, if you will, demon many times won't surrender its name. So you have to repeat the prayer. And the solemn rite is repetitive. It's a repetition of the prayer, and it's lengthy. It's not something you can do in 5 minutes. It's lengthy. And so, and again, the second time you do it, if it doesn't surrender its name, or it's I'm Satan, okay, we're going to continue on. And we're going to continue on. And we keep going and keep going. And sometimes it can last, 10, 12 hours. Sometimes it can last a couple of days, sometimes even longer. So you continue to do this until it surrenders its name in the hour of departure, to eradicate its will and intellect, so it releases, obviously, the hold that it has of the person. The person who is possessed has no memory of possession. Doesn't exist. They remember what led up to possession, but they have no memory of being possessed. So, no, the hour of departure meaning when it leaves, when it chooses to release its hold on the individual. It lies about its name all the time. All the time. Many times it will always say it's Lucifer. And that just try to intimidate you, or it will tell you, we are many. We are legions, and it will list a whole slew of names. And that, again, that's just to try to intimidate you, to make you think that you're going up against 50, demonic entities. And it will always inevitably be, the highest names of demons. They're absolutely everywhere, Cristobal. So there you go. Hopefully that answers the question. There are a classification of demons, and it really just depends on, which school of thought that you're in, because there's quite a few. I mean, there's the Lanterns of Light classification of demons, where you see where the 7 deadly sins, and it lists demons that's attributed to those particular sins. You know, Lucifer, pride; Beelzebub, envy; Satan is wrath; Abaddon, sloth; Mammon, greed; Asmodeus, lust. But there's a Spina's classification of demons. So that was in 1467, and he prepared a classification of demons based on really several criteria, and or Agrippa's classification of demons. So you have a scale of binary, which are 2 chiefs of the devil. So first you have in Agrippa's classification of demons, which is in 1500 or so, 1505, whatever it might be, there was a scale of unity. So you have Lucifer, and then you have a scale of binary, which are 2 chiefs of the devils. So a Behemoth and Leviathan. And then, of course, you have the third Furies, what they call it. And then you have the 3 infernal judges, and it goes on. And it lists, and it even lists the 4 princes of devils, even in elements. So you have the 4 elements, you know, fire, earth, air, and water. So it lists the demons that are attributed to those elements. So there's quite a few. It just depends on what school of thought that you belong to. So, like, for example, there are 9 princes ruling over 9 orders of devils. So in Matthew chapter 4, it speaks of Beelzebub, false gods. We have a lot of that in this world today. So we are elevating almost, you know, celebrities to the status of deities. And we got to be careful with that. In 1 Kings, it talks about the spirits of lying, which is a python, and instruments of iniquity and wrath. Genesis talks about that in Psalms, and Isaiah, that's Belial. So it goes on. There's more. But really, in the 7 deadly sins, Binsfeld, classification of demons, is listed there. Oh, hold on one second. I got to fix this on Instagram. Well, that's all right. We're gonna wrap things up anyway. It doesn't matter. So let me just remove this. There we go. So, yeah, even King James classification. He wrote a dissertation. It was published in close to 1600, I think 1590s or so, and prior to the first publication of the King James Authorized Bible. So he had a dissertation as far as the devils and things of this nature, and who like, for example, he referred to as spectra, used to describe spirits that trouble houses. He would define obsession, which is spirits that follow upon certain people, and then possession, of course, and fairies he even mentions. So, but it goes. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than just demons, you know. Anyway, hopefully that answers that question. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, there's a Sebastian Michaelis. Create demons? No, Satan does not create demons. He's not a creator. Maria, the reason is I decided to leave because I wasn't there to provoke. I wasn't there to tempt, and I was there to validate and move on. You know, on that documentary. Do you believe all regions have cause wars? You have to explain. I don't cause wars. What do you mean by that? Yeah, there's a book called Admirable History, and it's obviously admirable history, but anyway, there was a catalog. St. John the Baptist, St. John the Evangelist are 2 of the St. Johns whom Sebastian Michaelis refers to when he talks about the demons. So he mentioned that there's a first hierarchy, a second hierarchy, a third hierarchy, just as there are in angels as a first and second and third sphere or tier or hierarchy. And each one of them, yes, we see certain demons that are attributed to them. You know, so like Leviathan was also a prince of the seraphim who tempts people to give into heresy. He's opposed by Saint Peter. And we know that Beelzebub, we've all heard of Beelzebub, was a prince of the seraphim, just below Lucifer. And so Beelzebub, along with Lucifer and Leviathan, they were the first of the three angels to fall. So Beelzebub tempts people with pride, and again is opposed by Saint Francis of Assisi. So again, there's so much more that it's not just a simple Band-Aid you can put on it. This is why it's important when you're a demonologist and you're certainly an exorcist, you should know this. So no, our loved ones don't become angels. We're two different complete beings. We are created in God's image. They are not. All right. Let's see. Listen to this. I don't understand this. I have, classy. People, let me explain something. When you paranormal investigate, and this is one of the things I talk a lot about when I'm doing my presentations on demonology. When you go into a location, the moment you are there and you say, is anybody here? Can you make a noise? Can you do something? Can you're no longer in your world. You have now entered into a spiritual realm that has serious long-term consequences. And because of that, you need to be fully prepared and aware that those consequences can be quite devastating. So when you're paranormal investigating, you need to be aware of that. And people have said this to me all the time. Oh, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. I've been doing this for so long. And then 10 years later, you find out their whole entire lives come to a complete halt. It happens. So I can't tell you how many times it happens. Or people get involved in working demonic cases. I tell them all the time. You need to understand that when you start working with demonic cases, terrible things can happen. And if you're not prepared for this, you need to leave it alone. So it's not a game. And I think people are so many people now, especially now because of social media, they're trying to, this has happened for 25 years. I've seen it over and over and over. Now that social media has become a thing, 25 years ago, it wasn't. We communicated through Yahoo groups. But now it is so prevalent, it's all over. People are doing things that are really irresponsible. And they're doing it so they can get the likes and followers. But they're not doing it because they're passionate about it. They're doing it because they want the followers. It's scary. And they know they're going to get the viewers. You're paying a price for this. So I want to make that very clear, especially if they're on TikTok or anybody else. You are going to pay a price for this. So while you may get your views today, you're going to suffer the consequences tomorrow. And I've seen it time and time and time again. I cannot tell you how many people have said, oh, I'm, paranormal celebrity and I'm going to go out and investigate, and their life just comes crumble. And then they walk away from the paranormal. I cannot tell you how many people I know have walked away from the paranormal community because their life is crumbling down because they got involved in demonic cases. And I've seen it time and time again. I'll continue to see it. And now that social media, it has gotten worse, meaning it's so big, people are doing some things that are really dangerous. And you got to remember, that's not going to just affect your life. So I don't know, Jeannie, I've never seen it, so I can't really define it. So that's the thing. You got to be careful. I don't speak German. So, well, there was a belief that there are levels of heavens. There was a belief in that. Certainly we see that in scripture, but where demons were created, they're fallen but unconfined angels. So in other words, they exist. They are unconfined. They're here. They're present, and we have to be careful. People, I don't want people thinking, that you're going to be possessed so easily. It doesn't. I performed 33 exorcisms in 25 years. I have 21,000 emails. I have 19,000 messages on TikTok. I don't know how many messages I have on Messenger. 900 or so. Now, I've been doing this for 25 years. And the reason is give you all this information is because there are so many people who tell me that they're possessed. And yet I performed only 33. So does it exist? It does. But it is rare. Possession is rare. Well, thank you. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. But it does happen. Cristobal, how do you defend yourself against the demonic? Don't do anything that's going to put yourself in a position where you could have a demonic attachment. That's the best way. And you really have to be careful with that. And what I mean by that, paranormal investigators, what people are doing is they're going to locations. And for those of you who don't know, on TikTok, I'm running the show on 2 different computers. So I'm trying to answer questions on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. When you go to a location, and let's say that you're not a seasoned investigator, and you go to a location that's known to have demonic activity, that is very irresponsible. And I'll tell you why. As God is my witness, you need to listen to this. Many times when you're at a location and you know that the rumor is it's supposed to be demonic, many times when you say, is anyone here? Can you make a noise? Nothing will happen. And then you begin to start thinking that all this is just a big hoopla, that there's nothing here, that it's all just, make-believe stuff. And then you start doing things that you shouldn't do. There's a difference. Is there anything here? And you don't get a response. So then you start thinking to yourself, well, we're going to have to amp this up a bit. Well, I dare you to do. That's it. That's all it was waiting for. That's all it was waiting for. The invitation. Because once you begin to do investigations and nothing happens, then it's easy to get tempted because of pride, or because perhaps maybe you're doing an online investigation and people want to see activity. Then the temptation is, I dare you to do something. Push me. I dare you. That's invitation. And they were just sitting, waiting for the whole time. And so that's when the problem comes. That's when real serious issues come. So was the Bible social media at a time? I don't think you could define the Bible as social media. So the issue with social media, it's immediate interaction. And then people who are not experienced or not seasoned investigators, they go out and they do things to get people talking about it. But they're putting themselves at great peril by doing this. This is why I always say this to you. I always say this, guys, not because I'm bragging. I say it because I try to emphasize. I'm putting so much emphasis on this. There's no ulterior motive for me being here tonight. None. There's no ulterior motive for me doing this ministry. There is no salary. I receive no salary from being an old Catholic bishop. No salary, no stipend, no housing allowance, no insurance. I receive no financial benefit whatsoever. I receive nothing from the church. I do this ministry. I'm a bishop for free. 100% free. I'm not selling you a book. I'm not trying to tell you to do anything that's going to, for me to generate income at all. Because I fund my own ministry. And up until recently, just last year, I finally got help. I was doing it all on my own for 25 years. And I tell you that because there's no ulterior motive here. There are many people that's going to tell you that, I'm not saying that because I'm like, pat me on the back. That's not the point. The point is there is no ulterior motive other than to tell you what I've seen and experienced. And I'm telling you the truth when it comes to possession and demons. See, if I was getting paid a $95,000 salary, you could say, well, yeah, you get paid a fancy salary for this. Or if I was pushing my book, I wrote a bunch of books and I was pushing them on you. Oh, you got to buy them. Then you can say, well, yeah, that's why you're doing it. There's ulterior motives. There's no financial benefit, none, for me telling you what I've experienced, other than I'm telling you possession exists. And there are people out there that will tell you that they don't. They're misleading you. They are incorrect. And I'm concerned, deeply concerned, that I'm seeing a lot of young people on social media who have very little experience investigating, going to locations that they have no business going to. And I already can tell what's going to happen. I already know it because I've seen the book written a million times, meaning I have seen people follow the same pattern. They get heavy into social media. They start getting likes. They go to a location. All hell breaks loose in their life. And then they contact me or other clergy and expect us to fix it. It's like the same. It's like watching an episode on television over and over and over again. So just stay away from it. How do you keep demons from bothering you? Demons will always try to. The closer you get to God, the harder the devil works against you. And it's the same manner. It's the same manner with the trolls. See, the trolls don't realize that they're actually doing demonic activity. It's demonic. And I don't pay attention to it. I want everyone to understand this. Trolling is a form of demonic activity. And that's coming from an exorcist. See, I've said this a million times, if you truly have the Spirit of Christ, the God within you, you certainly wouldn't go around trolling someone else. You wouldn't do it. And when you use your words to break down someone else and try to harm them and try to hurt them, try to cause psychological or intellectual trouble for that person, you are doing demonic activity. It's called ordinary demonic activity. In other words, the demon will tell you, nope, we don't worship Mary. The demon will tell you, go ahead and say something nasty to the person. Go ahead and make fun of their faith. Go ahead and try to demoralize them. Go ahead and try to break down the person's intellect and will. That's exactly what demons do. Demons will try to break your intellect and will. And when you're using your words to try to break someone's intellect and will down, you are participating in demonic activity. And that's the truth. So, and it happens all the time. So, yeah, I know. So for those of you listening to this on podcast, we're going to say goodnight to you guys. I'm going to remind everybody, please don't forget, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're not leaving yet. We're going to be on TikTok here in a moment. In 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be online tomorrow for our open for Bible study. Also tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, I have Mass. It will only air on TikTok. Primarily because I get sick and tired of TikTok always telling me I have a copyright infringement when even though we have 3 licenses. So it gets kind of boring and kind of old when TikTok or Facebook keeps saying that. So nonetheless, it's just easier to do it on TikTok. So if you guys want to, head on over to TikTok. I'm going to bring the moderators up, and we're also going to bring you guys up on screen with us on TikTok if you have a question, and we'll entertain that. So tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Mass. And then, of course, on 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Bible study. And Bible study is open for everybody. So just to let you know, at 8 o'clock. So hang tight with me. We'll be with you guys in a moment. For those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble, remember I tell you all the time, your value does not decrease based on a troll's inability or refusal to see your worth. You're priceless. And don't let anybody tell you or convince you otherwise. Hopefully, we'll see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard for Bible study.